Hey everybody, it's Dawn Michelle, and I guess I'm live. This is exciting. This is my very first time going Facebook Live on my own Facebook, so I'm pretty stoked about it, and I hope it goes well. The whole idea is that we're going to do a small Devo, very small, because I have a short attention span, and you probably do too. So, but the cool thing is that we'll be able to have these Devos together, and then I'll put them on YouTube so that we can watch them again later for anybody who misses them, or if you just want to rewatch it again later. Sometimes I know I hear something and I'm like, I need to hear that again. So hopefully this will be a situation where you'll feel that way, because we'll actually have good things to say. But basically what I want to call this is the Finding Your Light Devo. It kind of comes from the idea that I was taught, and being a stage performer, is that when you're on stage and you're trying to communicate with people, the most important thing is that they are not distracted and that they can connect with your message. And the best way for them to connect with your message is to feel connected with you. And the best way for them to connect with you is if you are in the full light, if you have the best light just illuminating you. And this whole idea, I think, kind of translates to regular life, because I think a lot of times we spend a lot of time just trying to escape the light and hiding in darkness, and we don't want to be seen, and even though we want to be understood, we're so scared to be seen by other people for who we truly are. But I think that each and every one of us, our biggest goal is to find our light, to find a place where we can be most illuminated for who we truly are, who God made us to be. And there's just no other way to do that than to step out into the light and to find the place that we need to stand to be our true self. So in this Devo, I'm hoping that everybody is going to find things that help them discover more about who they truly are, and not who the world tells them and stuff. Totally live. So anyhow, today is going to be a pretty simple Devo. We're going to discuss the verse, Genesis 50:20, which says, "You thought evil against me, but God turned it into good, that he might exalt me and save many people." This is a huge verse in my life, and I just wanted to highlight it by telling a story. So I'm seeing that some people are paying attention, so that's cool. Hopefully not too many people, because that would make me nervous. Anyways, if you're just tuning in, you can see the rest of the video, I guess, when it's over, or you can go to my new YouTube channel, which I'll put all this information on the internet, on the Facebook, so that you can find it easy. Anyhow, okay, so the story I want to tell you about is this one day when we were out doing a show in Iowa at this big concert called Bash on the Farm. And Bash on the Farm is this show that has 2 or 3 stages. It's a festival basically, and it's all on a farm. And so I guess it is what it says. It is what it's called. Anyhow, so we were there to play a show, and we were walking around during the day, and we found out we had this opportunity to go meet a horse. And I was like, well, this is interesting. I personally like horses a lot, and I do take every opportunity I can to meet them, but it's not every day that someone walks up to you and asks you want to come meet a horse. So anyhow, so we went over to this program that was being run in a little corral. I think it was called the Christian Corral, and they had a beautiful blonde colored horse. It was a Palomino. And we got to watch the horse working, and kind of performed like a little show where they were talking about God's love and trying to step out of the darkness. And then afterwards we got to go up and pet the horse. And the first thing I noticed about this horse is, even though it was so beautiful, it didn't have any ears. It was like almost flat to its head. There were no ears at all. And I was like, that's very strange. I thought, did this horse have like a birth defect or something? So I started talking to the trainer who was showing us the horse, asking, so, what's up with the horse's ears? And he said, oh, actually, the horse was born with ears, but when it was younger, like the other horses that were in the pen with it, well, it was living in kind of an abusive home in the first place. And the other horses would bite at its ears and snip at it and everything, and it was small and it couldn't defend itself. And then the winter would come, and this home didn't take very good care of the horses, so they wouldn't bring the horses in during the winter. And it got so cold that the horse got frostbite on its ears. And it got it so bad that they actually had to remove this horse's ears. But it's pretty crazy, because he said the horse, they traced it back, and it turns out this horse actually has a pure bloodline. And if it was in perfect condition, it would be worth like $3 million. And I was like, what? I was like, step back from this powerful horse. But because of its ears being damaged, it was worth like maybe $50. And I just couldn't believe it. It like blew my mind. But we continued to talk to the trainer, and he explained that what he does with the horse is whenever there are children from a bad home or who are struggling or who have disabilities, they take this horse and the child gets to ride the horse and pet the horse, and it's really kind of like a therapy horse. And I was like, well, that's just so awesome. I've heard about therapy horses before, but this is my first time meeting one. So anyhow, we got to pet the horse, and it was so sweet, and just looked into my eyes, and I don't know if you ever get that connection with an animal or whatever, but I just felt like such a sweet horse. So then that night, after the show and everything, I was laying in my bunk on the bus, and I was thinking about that horse, and I couldn't get off my mind. And suddenly I started thinking, I was like, I bet God knows who that horse is. Like, of all the horses on the earth, there probably aren't that many that you could say are making a huge difference, like spiritually in people's hearts and in their lives. I was like, this horse, like better than any horse that won the Kentucky Derby, this horse is making an actual difference for little kids and maybe helping them to heal and to grow up to be, to have better lives as adults. So it occurred to me that even though this horse, in the world's eyes, it's worth nothing now, it's worthless, it's almost worse than worthless, because when you look at it, it makes you sad when you think about it's a sad story, But in God's eyes, this horse is like, I don't know, it's probably going to get like a crown or something, and I think that all animals go to heaven, just like odd dogs go to heaven. And in Revelation, it talks about horses being up there, so I don't think I'm totally off base. But anyways, I think this horse is going to be like, one of the most important horses of all time. And even though it was kind of counted as nothing and worthless by the world. And the parallel I saw in that was that into our own lives, because I know that all of us have been through hard times, different things, maybe you've been abused, maybe people who were supposed to be your family, mistreated you, people around you, you weren't cared for, or maybe you were, even hurt. And maybe you feel like in the world's eyes that you're worthless and that you mean nothing. But the truth is that in God's eyes, you have a totally different purpose and a different meaning. And just like that horse who went through so many bad things, but came out of it to help so many people in such a loving and tender way, that can be your life too. Even though you've come through so many difficult things, God can bring you through it as a shining light of power, of someone who's victorious, who has overcome, who is stronger than all the hits and the attacks that came against you. And I felt like that was a really powerful idea, because I know in my life, I've been torn down. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me here and there, not as bad as some people, but some bad things. And I've lost a lot and almost lost a lot of things. But at the end of the day, God's brought me through each and every one of those things. And He's showed me so much love from people around me, other people who had been through hard times and came and held me up when I couldn't stand. And so I figured that can be me. I can be somebody who holds someone else when they can't stand, and I can say, I've been there, I've had a suicide plan, I've been told I'm worthless, I've been made to feel like nothing, I've spent years and years feeling like I was nothing. But through that journey, God has begun to show me who I am in His eyes and who He thinks I am. And He's been calling to me to step into my light, to step out so that people can see me, see what God has done in my life, and then see a path leading for them to do the same. So with this devotional, I just want to invite you guys to step into your light. Each week it's going to be different, but it's probably going to have a lot of similarities to if you've heard things about counseling and stuff. I've been to counseling a lot myself, and God's really used it hugely in my life to show me how He wants to heal my heart through my own hard work and willingness to work on myself. And so I just want to invite you guys to work on yourselves too. And that's not easy. It's very hard, but it's so worth it. And I think in life, a lot of times, the things that are most worth it are the things that are more difficult that we have to work hard for. So I want to go back to that verse we talked about at the beginning, which was Genesis 50:20. You thought evil against me, but God turned it into good, that He might exalt me and save many people. So maybe in your life, you felt like the enemy has tried to take you out. Maybe you feel like he had a plan for you, which was a plan of destruction. And you know what? He had thought evil against you. But you know what? God's going to turn it into good, that He might exalt you and lift you high as a shining example of someone who is victorious and who is an overcomer and who can love others no matter what. And there's nothing more powerful in this world. So that's the power that you have to save many people from the darkness that they're in right now. All right, you guys, that's a little devotional for today. We're probably gonna do it every other week because that's how long it takes for me to get my act together. I'm sorry if this is a little rocky. It's my first time ever. But hopefully I'll get better and better at it. And it's been so great seeing, I think there's like 17 people watching, which is awesome. We probably couldn't even fit that many people in the living room for a Devo. So this is amazing. I'm gonna be putting this up onto my YouTube channel. I think I've got it figured out. And that's Dawn Michelle, number 1L. And this is probably backwards on your screen, I don't know. But you know what that means. So Dawn Michelle 1L. It's going to be posted there too. So if you want to have other people watch it, and we're just going to keep going with the Devos as time goes on, and hopefully more and more people can join. And if they can't, they can watch it on YouTube whenever it works for them. And that way we can all be together and share. And I thank you so much for your comments. It's so great to see you guys. Hey, Paul. And who knows, maybe we'll mix it up and do questions sometimes, things like that. But overall, I just want to focus on all of us just growing closer to God and coming to a greater understanding of who God made us to be, so that we can live that way and make an impact and make a change here on this earth, because love is so powerful and prayer is so powerful. So thanks everybody for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Thursday after next, or maybe even next Thursday. I don't know. I'll announce it. So anyhow, guys, have a great day. Take care. Now I have to figure out how to turn this thing off.